Alright, real quick, Bungie quietly changed how Suros Regime works. So you can now swap between spinning up and dual speed receiver mid-game. So I took it straight into high level Crucible to see if it actually slaps, or if it's still just nostalgia bait. So I'm gonna give you no fluff, no clickbait. Here is the no BS Suros Regime breakdown. Now here's what Bungie changed and why it matters. Now you can hot swap between speeding up and dual speed receiver during a match. So that now means you have one gun but two completely different playstyles on demand. Spinning up turns Suros into a classic high RPM laser if you commit to the beam, and dual speed receiver slows it down but makes it hit harder and more consistent at longer range. So in practice, this is the first time Suros has felt like a real Swiss Army knife primary. Now let's put this into context versus the current Crucible meta, because you're mainly competing with things like hand cannons, immortal style SMGs, and pulse rifles. However, Suros is still an auto rifle, so it's not magically gonna nuke people across the map. But with speeding up, your time to kill feels very competitive if you track well and pre-fire. And with dual speed, you trade some raw DPS for better stability, stickiness, and longer lane. So the question isn't Suros broken right now? Real question is it good enough to justify running it over your comfort primaries? So let's talk real performance, starting with close and mid-range. Up close with spinning up, Suros actually fries. If you're pre-aiming a lane and start firing as they peak, the ramp up melts people before they even react. However, where it struggles is if you're late on the trigger or you get caught off guard. So if you don't get that spin started, you lose a lot of duels to SMGs and hand cannons. Now at mid-range, Suros feels way more honest because you're rewarded for good tracking, good positioning, and not ego challenging everything. And in 1v1 duels where I saw them first and committed, Suros absolutely held his own. But this is not a delete the lobby by existing weapon, you still have to play smart. Now let's break down the actual perk swapping. Spinning up is aggressive, hold the trigger, take space option. So it feels better when you're anchoring lanes or team shooting with your squad. Now with dual speed receiver, it's more of I'm gonna play slow and methodical mode. I swapped to dual speed receiver when I knew I was gonna take long range fights or when the lobbies were stacked with pulse rifles. And that extra stability and control made the gun feel way less random at range, and having that flexibility is the real buff here, not some secret broken stat. However, there was only one annoying part that I found with this weapon, and that was when you swap between spinning up and dual speed, the gun doesn't actually tell you which one you're on. So there's no icon, no indicator, nothing. So for a perk you're supposed to hot swap mid-match, that's kind of wild. And even during my competitive matches, I did average a 5.8 KD. However, I did die a few times because I lost track on which hot swap I was actually using. So to Bungie, please give this thing some clear mode icons in a future patch so we're not guessing what version of the Suros we're actually holding. Now with that out the way, in practice, I found myself starting the match on dual speed to feel things out. And then I swapped to spinning up once I knew the map flow and where I could bully lanes. Now having that type of flexibility is the real buff here, like I said, not some secret broken stat. Now let's talk competitive. In higher comp lobbies, people don't give you a lot of time to ramp up. Hand cannons will 2-tap you, pulses will team shoot you, and positioning matters way more than raw TTK. However, in that environment, Suros is good if you are good. So if your crosshair placement is clean, you pre-aim angles, and you don't panic anchor the stick, Suros rewards that discipline. But if you're relying on it to bail you out of bad peaks and ego chow gunfights, it's gonna feel inconsistent. So no, this change doesn't suddenly make Suros a brainless meta crunch weapon. It turns it into a solid, flexible primary for players who already understand positioning and lane control. Players like myself. So here's how I'll actually run Suros if you want to give it a real shot. First, build around survivability and lane holding. Prioritize your health so you can take chip damage, duck, and re-challenge. So pair it with a strong cleanup option, something like an aggressive sidearm, spread shot hand cannon, shotgun, or a fusion rifle. So your job with Suros is to start damage early, control lanes, and let your special or your team finish the fights. Perk-wise on your armor, lean into flinch resistance and also aim stability where you can. Playstyle-wise, think pre-aim, pre-fire, commit. So pick a lane, post up, and force people to walk into your beam. Don't ego sprint around corners trying to outgun SMGs at point blank chaos. Let Suros be the anchor, not the entry frag hero gun. So here's my final verdict. Is the Suros Regime back? Here's my no BS answer. It's not top 1 meta, it's not busted, it's not even going to replace the easiest primaries in the game. But the change finally makes Suros feels like a truly viable, flexible option in PvP again. So if you already like autos and you play around lanes, you can absolutely win with this. But if you're chasing effortless, low focus, stat check meta, this ain't for you. So my verdict is Suros is legit and worth trying. Not drop everything, the sky is falling. So if you want me to do this same no BS breakdown on other slip on exotics after Bungie tweaks them, let me know which one next. Because I'm betting on weapons that can actually feel good in real lobbies, not just on paper. So hit that like if this saved your time, sub if you want more straight to the point Crucible breakdowns, and I'll catch you in the next one. And if you like this no BS look at Suros, I've got a whole playlist of no BS Destiny 2 breakdowns right here. Click that and keep it rolling. And don't forget to like and sub. You guys have a great day. Peace.